You are in a pit of rants. This one's for Arterhauser, who says, "Hey Digi, sometimes I feel like some people can't make the distinction between Loli art style and Chibi art style. For example, a show like Isekai Quartet has a pretty obvious non-lollified Chibi art style, while Ichigo Marshmallow, for example, is very lolly but not Chibi at all. I also feel like there are shows that implement both styles, like Lucky Star, for example. What makes a lolly art style different from a Chibi one? Am I the only one that sees a big difference between those two styles? Does it matter? Rant about that, I guess. I don't know." I definitely think that this is a cultural divide thing from Japan and America. Cutesy, chibi-fied versions of things are just extremely common in Japan. Like, the idea of chibifying characters makes just as much sense as chibifying humans or chibifying concepts, which is all stuff that happens constantly in iconography in Japan. So I think for them it's very distinct. And there's also a sort of gradient here because, playing around with this distinction was a part of anime culture of the 2000s. So, if you look at a show like Digi Charet or Puni Puni Poemi, these characters were created in a style that's called Punimoe, which is, deliberately a bridge between, cutesy, moe, lolly style and more, more chibi-fied stuff so that you could create different art, different merchandise of these characters in every stage of this gradient. So, when you have a Punimoe character, it's very easy to translate them into a little keychain that is a, chibi version. And then you could also make them, more humanized, make them more realistic to draw porn of them. Or maybe you don't even have to draw them more realistically to draw porn of them if they're, depending on where they are in this intersection of hot to cute, of... when I think Ichigo Marshmallow, that one is also in a strange position because, Ichigo Marshmallow is, lolly to some extent, but it really is more trying to be cute and realistic. I think the character designs are not, overtly sexualized. I think that there's kind of a wink and a nod to the fact that the author knows they will be sexualized almost, and it's in the story, the older sister character herself is portrayed as sort of a lolicon. In context, making her basically a pedophile, but she also is 15, So, and she's basically just playing with her little sisters and her friends. So, I don't know. Do I think that Ichigo Marshmallow is, a lolly manga? I think it certainly is, tangential to it, but not that it's, aesthetically trying to be, lolicon, which is, its own aesthetic that I would consider separate from that. That is not as realistic. That is more, more just small women, But in any case, there's tons of these aesthetic divides. It's why the more autistically particular you get about aesthetics, the more you can break it down into different tags. If you're somebody who hangs around on image boards and image cataloging sites like Gelboru, then it's you could get into the minutia of stylistic differences, categorically between images all day, and what each of those things in itself means in the mind of a person who, what schemata of your brain creates an attraction to these specific tags on Gelboru is trying to understand that is how I've been trying to understand people. So, that's the way forward.